Hello everybody and welcome to Senior Susie Stamps. This is Julia and today is Sunday, so it's Sunday with Susie. And today we're going to finish, well, we're going to start finishing some Valentine cards for the Senior Citizens Center here in the county that I live. And I'm going back to my OWH card sketches, and we're going to do these first four today for sure. And maybe these last four, I don't know that we'll have time, but I wanted to let you know. And the OWH link for this card sketches will be in the description box below. So let's get started. Now, I am trying out 4 different glues today. Art glitter glue, which you know I've used for years and is my go-to glue. Barely Art glue, which I used last week and had a little trouble with the tip, so I decided to put it in a fine tip. This is some glue that's by Books by Hand. It's a PVA glue. And this is some Elmer's Clear. So I thought, someone asked me why I was trying different glues. And here's the deal. I think it's important that we kind of stay up and try different things as they come along. And I've been hearing really good things about this Barely Art glue. And on this Elmer's Clear, I use that for new student classes because it has a longer drying time. It's a perfectly good glue and it works great. And I got some of this Books by Hand PVA glue, I don't know, last year sometime. I wanted to water some glue down and I wasn't sure how the art glitter glue would do, and it's so expensive I didn't want to waste it. So that's how I ended up with all those. I have some other glues as well, but this is what we're going to use today. So this is card sketch number 51, which came out of my book, and this is what it looks like right here. Well, this is 51 and this is the next one we're going to do, which is 52. But we'll concentrate on this one right now. And I had 2 packets. Now you remember last fall, Peggy and I got together and put these little packets together so that after my surgery I could just pull packets and make cards for the obligation for Valentine's Day. And so that's what we're going to do today. This is just really a quick construction of cards out of card packets that have already been cut, and we used all of the scraps we could possibly use out of the paper. The paper is an Echo Park pack called Hello Valentine, and on these cards I am stamping the envelope, and this is the inside of that card. Now you'll see some little hearts here, and this is some shaker card hearts that I found. I'm sorry, I don't remember the source, but I got them at paperwishes.com. And then I have some other little hearts here. And again, I've had these for years. You know how it is in your stash where you have a big wad of stuff and you just keep pulling from it. So that's what that is. But anyway, this is number 51 in the OWH sketch, and we have another one of those to do. So let's see what's inside this packet. Oh, and they're all going to have the Happy Valentine's Day stamp. Some of them go portrait and some of them go landscape. So I'm going to wait and do that after we finish the construction of all the cards. And you won't see that process because I am going to go back and put them on my Misty so that I don't have a big mess up like I did. You all have probably come over to the Facebook page and see things that I do on a daily basis or every other day, and saw the big mess that I made with one of my Valentine cards recently by trying to stamp it by hand and then dropping the stamp in the middle of the card after it was completely finished, which is never a good thing to do, let me tell you what. It just doesn't work well. But anyway, I was able to kind of save that card, so that's a good thing. I'm going to use my ATG tape roller to put the big pieces down on the cards. And these were not cut quite, I don't know. I must have had too much coffee that day when I cut things. So we are having a little challenge here on getting the borders just right on these. to do the best I can and then let it go a little bit. So I'll bring this back over, and I know there's a glare. I should probably take that out, shouldn't I? So that the light glare won't bother y'all. There we go, right here. This is number 51, and you'll see those little sketch numbers on up where the OWH circle is on these. It's on most all of them. Now some of them the numbers got left off, but this is going to be a landscape card. I've already tagged it on the back, and some of these strips, this should have been according to the sketch 5.5. I didn't have it, and you know what? That's the nice thing about card sketches, because use what you have and use up your scraps, and don't cut new pieces of paper if you don't have to. Honestly, I could have cut this and spread it, and you never would have known the difference. But I just don't want to fool with that right now. But that's always an option, to cut it and spread it back behind things. So on this one, I think I'll put that up on some foam tape. And, oh, I gotta get my scissors. Sorry about that. And I may put the February 14th up on a piece of foam tape also. Let's just see how this finishes out a little bit. I have some little scraps left of that paper pack. They're not of any significance at all, but I thought I would try to pull and use as much of those as possible in the final embellishment and the insides of these cards. But we'll have to see what actually works. And then I think, oh heck, well, what do you know about that? And then I'm going to put this one over like that. So I want to put the foam on this end here. And then I'm going to put a little glue, and I'm going to use this Books by Hand PVA glue on this one. It comes out of this fine tip point very nicely. Now I will say this, as far as filling those little bottles, the worst one was the art glitter glue. It was a lot thicker, and it was more of a challenge to get it in the small neck of those little small bottles. But that's not to say it's a qualifying reason not to use art glitter glue, because we all know it's a wonderful glue. Okay, so that is the finished part of that card, and let me see if there's anything over here. I'll show you what I've got left here out of this paper pack, and there's some other things that have been kind of added in here. I'll just go through this little wad of stuff and see if there's anything at all that I can kind of add to that card. And I would like to put a little something on the inside of these cards, like maybe a little strip or just something. So this envelope needs to be stamped, and I'm going to go ahead and do that while we're right here with these. Normally we send about 25 cards to the senior center, and the director sends those out to people that are not able to come anymore for whatever reason. I think I'm going to put some of these little shiny gems on there, and I was using the PVA glue, so that's what I'm going to continue to use here. It comes out of this fine tip point very nicely, I must say that. One thing that I will be monitoring is whether or not these tips clog up, because that can be a real headache in using glue. Having the tip of your glue bottle constantly drying up on you, it's just a hassle. And that is one thing I have to say about my art glitter glue. It does clog that tip more than I would like it to, certainly. These are pretty little heart gems. There we go. And see, it adds a nice little amount of sparkle in there. So that was sketch number 51. The next one we're going to do is sketch number 53. And that, wait, no, I'm sorry, it's 52. And it's this one right here. Probably won't be a circle. I don't remember us doing any circles at all. Let me go ahead and get this envelope out of the way, since my stamp is right here. Usually I do all the envelopes at the very end, but not always. I kind of like to change things up some. Let's see what's in this packet. Okay. Looks like maybe these were a little short. Yep, they were. And then, let's see what all we got here. Okay, this is not going to be a circle. And it is going to be like that. And this is where it gets a little challenging. I think I will use the red because I like the red in the wagon. So let me go ahead and put this layer down first. Now we have gone ahead and put our little made by sticker on the back, and some of them will be portrait and some of them will be landscape. So I need to kind of check that because I want it to follow through all the way. And this one, as it turns out, will be portrait. So we're looking at something that kind of goes this way a little bit here now. So I think I kind of like that a little better. And then maybe let's try this and see how it does. That white on white really doesn't work very well, does it? Well, let's see how this looks then. Now, sometimes when you're doing card sketches like this, it's better to play around with it just a little bit before you glue it down. Let's try flipping this and see how that works. Well, I wish you all were live because you could tell me what to do, because I'm never quite sure, but I believe this is the way we're going to run it today. So that one and this one and then these two. And again, these two layers weren't quite large enough just to put down on their own, so we put the red backer down underneath of it. And I'm just going to put a little border the same around on all three sides, here, here, and here. And then I'm just going to snuggle this one right up next to it and not worry too much about that other side over there. It should pretty well work itself out. And it did. Oh, that's good. Now this one sets up just a little bit from the bottom, looks like. About like that. And I'm going to put the special delivery up on foam tape. Let's try to get this straight going across here. Maybe right across that way. There we go. And then I'm going to foam this up. Don't know that there's really anything else going on this one. I'm still trying to use up a little bit of this foam tape that I found running around in the foam tape box. Those are a little thicker. So I'm just going to use these little strips up and get them out of here, because they cost just as much per inch as everything else in the studio does, don't they? Yeah, you know they do. Okay, let's see what we got going here. I think I'll tie that line. What do you think? I'm going to tie the line going across and hope it comes all the way. There we go. And I'm thinking this one might need a little bow or a little flower or something on it. Let me go get some red ribbon. I'll be right back. Well, I brought choices for us. You know how that goes. Some days I struggle to make up my mind a little bit. Oh, I don't know. I'm leaning towards this one because I just think it's cute. It's the cutest. Let me get my bow maker out here and see about what size bow I want. And I think I'll make it a double loop bow. Those of you who have watched this channel for a while know that I am absolutely in love with this bow maker. I've had it for years. They are still available. Go to 10secondbowmaker.com. They're reasonable and they work just wonderfully. So what about that? That'd be something simple to tie that together. I think that'll work just fine. And I'm going to put a little glue dot on there. I'll just put it right there on the edge. And there we go. I may go back and put a few little gems or something on that. Looks like it might need something. And I've got these little teeny flowers here. Let's see if some of those don't work on that card. And since I dumped the rest of them out, let's just use this tray. I got these from eBay recently and was not disappointed at all on them. Now, I'm using the PVA glue again. I'm trying to make a little tiny dot because these are not big at all. Let's just do 3 to start and see how that works. It's kind of a bright pink, isn't it? But I like it. It shines out really well. Yeah, I think we need another couple down in through here. Maybe one right there. And perhaps one up here. There we are. I've been kind of doing some minor rearranging in the studio this last week, and got some drawer stacks from Home Depot, and John helped me put them together the other day, and so I'm trying to get things a little more organized. But you know how it is when you move something, you can't remember what you did with it. Yep, that's me. Okay, so that card is done except for this stamp on the inside. Let's see what's next. I think we're through with this page. So we're going to number 71 on the card sketches now. And that is this one right here. Simple card sketch, isn't it? But it makes a really pretty little card, don't you think? I do. I thought that one turned out really nicely. It's landscape, of course, and these were left over in my little leftover tray. This little heart here came in some Happy Mail, and this is an old Stampin' Up! Stamp. I just love that little guy. I think he's just adorable. So that one's ready to go. And let's look at the other one. That's number 71 and see what it looks like. This is going to be landscape. And this one goes that one. And then this one kind of goes right up in the middle. Let's see how wide this is. It's just a little wide looking to me. And I noticed the sketch is for 2 inches. So let me narrow this down just a little bit to 2 inches. Or so that it is 2 inches. And I think that'll look just a touch better. I'm going to use the red side out. This paper came with some colored cardstock, and I went ahead and got it because red is kind of a funny color, and it can have a little more blue in it than you realize, or it can have a little more yellow in it than you realize, and sometimes it's a struggle to match. So when I find a pack that has a little bit of colored cardstock that goes with it, I've just decided to try and go ahead and get that along with it, because matching stuff sometimes is just a little bit too challenging. Now, this one goes right smack dab down the middle, so I'm using my grid lines, and I'm setting it back because this sheet was not quite long enough. I think that works fine right there like that. This piece, however, is a little longer, so it is going to go edge to edge. And again, this was just part of the paper pack, and it happens to have a hole punched in it, so we're covering it up and using every little bit that we possibly can on that. And there we are. And you'll never notice that gone. Let me see. I have one little flower here. Get that put over here. I think I will put this up on some foam tape. I do my foam tape this way for a couple of reasons. The primary reason is because it doesn't gum up my scissors. But the secondary reason is because I can then cut it to be exactly the size that I want it to be useful for the card that I'm making at that moment. I'm using this line and this line, top and bottom, to line that up. And there we go. I think this needs some hearts on it. Let me see. I've got some foam hearts over here. Where did they go? Oh, here they are. They may be too big. I don't remember if I have any little small ones in here or not. Well, now these might be kind of pretty on there. What do you think? I think it might just be pretty on there. Let's use some of those. Ooh, now here's one. Hang on. Wait. These are a little smaller, the centers of these. Let me put these back. Oh, and here's some smaller ones. Woo! I just pulled these out too fast, didn't I? I think I like those the best. Okay. One thing about having a bunch of supplies on hand when you're in the final stages of embellishing your cards, it's nice to be able to go and pull something that you think you might like to have, rather than having to go and shop for it or always be making things at the last minute. Let's see, that's two enough? Or do we need a third one? I think we got two. It's fine on this card. There we go. So that one's finished. Oh, let me get the envelope because I don't think I got this one. I always like to check my stamps before I put them down to make sure I've got ink all the way across the surface. And I don't have stuff on the edges of the stamp, because that can always be challenging, can't it? Alright, let's see what's next. Oh, this is number 73. And it's this sketch. Well, let me pull this out. I'm sorry. I'll pull these out where y'all can see them a little bit better. It's this sketch. And on this card, now, tell me true if you notice it or not, but this side over here is wider than this side over here, and I don't think anybody will notice that, especially since I put these big red gems on there. But I wanted to have you notice, when you're using scraps, sometimes you just got to use what you got. And this was just a small piece. I didn't feel like trying to put it on the cutter and make it this wide, so I just used what I had, and I don't think it's noticeable at all. And then on the inside, I used another little strip and another little stamp. So that's number 73, and we're going to make one. And let's see what's inside this packet over here. I'll do my envelope. I hope y'all have been having a good week. I've had a good week this week. I am still in physical therapy, and I have 5 more weeks, and oof, it takes a lot of time to go and have it and go and come and all that stuff. I'll be glad when I'm through and hope everything works out perfectly. Now let's see. This was part of the packaging, and it makes a nice little embellishment. So let's see, which way do we want up on this? This one goes across the bottom, and then the Hello Valentine. Now on that other one, I cut a little piece of red, a 1/4 inch strip of red, but I have this little tiny piece right here that might be fun to use. And again, this is not quite cut quite right. Let's see if we can get that put on there a little better. There we go. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here and turn it over and trim it, because it's really hard to do when you put it on the card and then try to get up in there and trim it. It's just hard to do. So, okay, let's see. I think I'll put this one on the bottom. There we go. And then I'll put this one on the top. So we're almost to the end of this video, and I know that those of you who are still watching are some of my most loyal followers, and I wanted to say thank you for that. And I also want to ask you this year, I'm going to use Elmer's glue on this, the clear glue. It gives you just a little bit more slip time. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, you know, I have this huge stamp collection here, and what I've been noticing I'm doing when I'm doing production cards for the nursing home and for the seniors, I rarely use any of my stamps, which makes me sad. It's because I feel like the pressure of having to make so many cards that I don't bother with stamping. I just get the designer paper and roll with it. But I wanted to know if you all are interested in seeing a little different type of content this year on 2 things. one, I wanted to do a little bit more artistic card, not just straightforward card making like we've done some in the past. Using scraps and white paper and what have you, and doing some backgrounds and those kinds of things that are a little more interesting and perhaps maybe a little more challenging and not necessarily beginner level things. So comment on that if you will. And the other thing that I thought might be interesting for this year is to take some card sketches and resize them into different size cards, because in the grand scheme of things of card making, you know, the more card sizes you have in your repertoire, the more you're going to be able to use your scraps. It's just simple economics of scrap using to me. So, what do you think about a bow on that one? I think maybe the plain red. And I know some people are interested in scan and cut, and some people could care less about it. So, I will probably be doing some scan and cut videos this year, or incorporating it a little bit in the videos, because it's a fabulous tool to have. And if you have one and it's still in the box, we need to get that thing out. Get it out and use it. So I think those tails are going to be way too long, don't you? Yeah, I do too. Okay, let's just trim those down to a more reasonable size and see what we got going on here. Put it up in the corner? I think so. That'll do fine. I'm just flattening that knot out just a little bit by wringing it back and forth. That way it'll lay flat on the page just a little bit better. There. And this needs to come down just a touch more, doesn't it? There we go. Now, some of these little guys here may be in white. Let's just see. What do you think? I like it. I'm going to do art glitter glue on this one. I'm trying to see how it comes out of this tip. Okay, I squeezed a little hard on that. It comes out just fine. And then here in a day or two, I'm going to come back and check these bottles and see if they're all clogged up or not, because that's part of the picture of card making and fine tip glue bottles. So I'll let you know on that. I'll probably put a note over on the Facebook page about the glue bottles and the final results on it. But so there's the last card of those first numbers, and I think we'll save the other 5, I guess, and do them at another time. I may try to do an extra video this week if I can work it in. So y'all, let's look at the cards. Okay, there's 7 today. Alrighty, I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye, y'all. Take care.